So if we bring this full circle back to someone that's, maybe trying to optimize for fat loss at a specific point in time, is there a certain level of exercise that you find is going to be a tolerable upper level before fat loss starts to become impeded? Like, does it actually become a barrier to more, I don't want to say fat loss per se, but let's say, I know that most recreational people that are working out are probably not even near the realm of overtraining.
No.
So if you had to look at it, you say, like, where is a sweet spot that's going to still kind of optimize for that without pushing it too far, right? You've got some people out there that'll say, okay, well, if cortisol is elevated too high, then that's going to be, an encumbrance to building muscle. I think that's negligible, right? It's going to be one of those things where, is there a point where, okay, you are causing so much damage? And I'm sure, yes, there is a point, but are most people hitting that point when, yes, you're doing so much damage that this is an encumbrance to you having any body composition change or losing fat? Now, after today's video, I put a link down below for Seed Daily Synbiotic. If you're trying to change your diet up, I would recommend you add a good quality probiotic or at least some good fermented foods in if you don't go that route. But Seed is a unique probiotic because it has a prebiotic and a probiotic in one capsule. So you see there's two sort of capsules in one. So it breaks down in different areas of your gut. So you have a better likelihood of proper colonization of the bacteria in the lower part of the intestinal tract where you want the bacteria to colonize. So Seed is super unique with how they're built, but also it's the only probiotic that I personally would recommend. I think most probiotics are garbage because they all break down in the hostile gut. So Seed is unique, and I definitely recommend you check them out. And that is a 25% off discount link for people that watch this channel. So again, 25% off in the top line of the description underneath this video.
So you brought it up really quickly, but true overtraining is incredibly rare.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a handful of review articles you can go look at, but strength training, specifically induced overtraining, has only really been shown one time.
Yeah.
And that was actually a paper from a lab I worked in as a master's student, Andy Fry, where they did 1 rep max back squat, and they did 10 of those per day, every day, for like 14 days. And that actually took the participants somewhere between 2 to 8 weeks to actually get back to baseline. So overtraining is not really a thing. It can happen more commonly, I should say, in endurance individuals. So it's more prevalent there, but still honestly quite rare.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean you're not doing too much exercise. It can be done, but you're probably not getting into technical overtraining.
For sure.
Okay, so are you really getting to a spot where you're making progress worse? That would be hard to really do. Are you getting into a position though where the diminishing returns no longer weigh the benefits? Kind of a Pareto, 80-20 sort of rule, right? Return on investment, that kind of just depends on the person, right? It depends on how lean you are. If you're getting very, very lean, it's probably just going to take a lot of work to get those next few percentage points. And you're going to get that from your caloric intake, your nutrition, rather than energy expenditure. So I would say, I doubt many people are outworking themselves. What can happen though, and we have seen this in our rapid coaching program a ton, is people, their allostatic load. So their total stress load gets too high. It's not necessarily that they're working too much, but that could be a big contributor to that. What I mean by this is a combination of psychological stressors. Maybe they've got some sort of parasite or bacterial overgrowth. They've got some micronutrient deficiency. They've got some hormonal imbalance. They've got something else going on that's adding a ton of stress to the stress system. And these are non-specific or what we call hidden stressors. Okay, so this is all going on in their body. They don't know this. And then they start working out, they start training, which is a visible stressor. So they know that stress, they see it, they feel it, they're putting it on. And then all of a sudden they just feel like they're tanking. And they feel like they're tanking and things are getting worse and they are stalling progress. Maybe insulin and testosterone and cortisol are becoming dysregulated. And you're like, man, it's not because you're actually working too hard. It's because you have too much of your stress bucket full of these non-specific hidden stressors. And now you do a little bit of this stuff and you're overflowing.
Yeah.
The system is now fighting back, pushing back. This has happened a lot with people who we work with, because we do a lot with athletes, but we do a lot with executives and parents and people running family, like these people who have higher stress jobs. If you have a really high basal stress load, sympathetic drive, and you're coupling that with a lot of high intensity training, this can get you to Fry City pretty fast. So that is a case where it's not like the workload per se, but it's the combination of the fact that you're going from really hard decision, stressful environment, maybe you're an ER nurse or a doctor or a police officer, like this is not even necessarily like just business people, right? It's people that are like, yo, we make really important decisions a lot and snap and fast in high pressure situations in those jobs. And then you get home and you go right to the gym and you do max intensity intervals every day, or that's all your training or something like that. And we start to look at things like respiratory rate, and we start to look at other physiological signs, and they are torched.
Yeah. Not to mention they're in a caloric deficit. Not to mention,
And they're in a caloric deficit, and they're not feeding into those systems. There's no down regulation practice. There's no other thing that they have that's giving their body a chance to fight back. And those people will survive for 6 weeks or 6 months, but many of them will eventually then just slam into a wall. And this is plateaus. This is negative, right? This is when, like, oh my God, things are getting, performance starts to dip, right? Sleep issues, psychological issues, but definitely plateaus. Like, will almost 100% be a plateau. Like, I can't get any leaner. I can't get any stronger. I can't grow any more muscle. Like, what is happening? I got to train more. And we look at the system and you're like, oh, no, we just got to get you to chill a little bit. Like, we have to bring that allostatic load down. You're just pegged out at this point. And so we will see those people when we back off intensity. And I don't necessarily mean just exercise. I mean total life intensity, one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Then we start to see massive jumps in progress. And it happens really quickly.
I mean, I've noticed that even with myself. If my training volume is very high, at the same time, emotional stress is high, business is high, all that, I'll notice it, but I've kind of adjusted to that. And then all of a sudden, if I drop volume, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm a new human, right? It's pretty amazing. Like, just, come to see, like, I've established this baseline at a fairly high volume, fairly high, like, allostatic load, and then all of a sudden take one of those things out of the equation. And it's like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to feel like, right? Yep. And it's really hard for a lot of people, especially probably executives and people like that, where they're just wired that way. It's really hard for them to say, okay, well, I have to throttle it down, right? So is that usually the recipe there? I mean, you can't just tell them to, like...
Actually, I appreciate you asking the question, because not necessarily.
Yeah.
What I want to be really clear about is, this is not just like, okay, let's stop working out. We're just going to do breath work and yoga.
Yeah.
Like, definitely not at all.
Good.
It's just going, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this maximal interval session every single day. Okay, can we keep it to 4 days a week? And then can we do something restorative? Maybe we don't need to change the exercise at all, but we can enter in a 10-minute down regulation practice post-workout. It can be something like that. It can be something like, you know what? We need 3 10-minute walks a day with no earplugs. Yeah. No podcasts, no business calls, nothing like that. It can be 1 10-minute walk a day. So there's lots of ways we can go about it. It doesn't have to just generally be like, we got to pull things back. And by pull back, we don't have to go all the way back. If it is a respiratory issue and we can change a breath rate and we can work on something like that, there's lots of things we can do. It can be a stimulant. Bring down stimulant intake. Yeah. Okay, fine. Stuff like that. Not that we're against stimulants, but in that combination, in that scenario, we're over the realm there. Yeah. You would not want to pull these people back to no exercise. That would be really bad as well, because they clearly have energy that needs to get burned.
Yeah.
Then they're going to ruminate. They're going to be in problems there. Physiologically, they're not going to be happy as well. Sleep's probably going to go in the bad direction. So it is just figuring, okay, like how can we just balance this thing, yin yang, right? It's not necessarily just like come back off of, but it's going, okay, if you're going to press hard on action, I need you to press hard on relaxation too.
Yeah.
So give me hard there, right? So we may change out something like, great, that hour you spend from 7 to 8 p.m. on wrapping up your emails, we're going to spend that hour on learning a language, playing guitar. We're going to spend that on something else. It's not Zen per se. They're working. They're getting after. They're thinking.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that actually gives them like...
It fills their bucket a little bit.
Brings something back down, right? So it doesn't have to just always be this like... And sometimes it can though. Like sometimes it is like, yo, we're going to take some CBD bubble baths. Like chill.
Yeah.
So like all those options are possible.